Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I got another one for the F10 for you guys. Come on, get closer, get closer. I got story time for you. You ready for this? Here we go. Now this happened to my friend some months ago. Just so you guys know, he's got a big turbo, N55, and he was getting ready to do a 0 to 130 pull for draggy. And you know, he's all excited, he's ready to go, he did all his checks, everything's good to go, right? So here we go. He goes, first gear, whoop, second gear, whoop, third gear, whoop, and then shifts into fourth gear. Fourth gear hits in and the turbo spools up again, and the moment that it spools up, boom, drivetrain malfunction. Oh my God, what did I just break, he says. How many of you guys have been there? It is a scary thought when that happens. Anytime you're driving a BMW and you get a drivetrain malfunction light, it's typically bad news, but you know, something that happens to us, not really to the guys with the factory turbo, even on E85, this doesn't really happen to them much. Typically when this happens to the guys with factory turbo, it's not because of an actual issue. It's not because of their aftermarket stuff, it's just because they have a bad module. But for the people that have larger turbos like me or bigger turbos, this is more commonplace. And what it is that the EKPS, which is your fuel pump control module, will overheat because of the demand of the larger pump that you have in your tank, and it's trying to keep up with the demand from all the extra air that's being pushed by the big turbo. So what happens is that when it overheats, you get a drivetrain malfunction and the car basically wants to shut off. The module is too hot to feed the required amperage to your low pressure fuel pump to be able to keep up with demand. So what happens is that it shuts down. So now you're stranded on the side of the road somewhere, hopefully in an empty highway, but sometimes in the wrong part of town. So do you want to be stuck there? No, I don't think so. So with that said, this is where this product comes in. Now, full disclosure, this is a sponsored video. I reached out to them and they just went ahead and sent it out to me. I'm just going to go ahead and do a review for it. I hope you guys trust me for the fact that I will tell you if the product is BS or not, but honestly, I've never had any BS product from our Terminator. They have been phenomenal to work with and their attention to detail has been great and their customer service is top notch. So I recommend them for anything they sell to you guys. They are phenomenal to work with. So what this product is an EKPM3, which is an upgraded fuel pump control module. Now they made a few changes to the module itself, a lot of physical changes. The big one is the fact that they got rid of the factory half-bridge fuel pump motor drive. That's a lot of technical junk. I don't know what that means, to be honest, because I don't do circuitry. So I'm just gonna call it a driver for short. What they did is that they upgraded it to some Uber one that I've also never heard of the brand, but apparently it's good stuff. Just to save you guys all the technical data, I'll leave you guys with the important stuff. This module can handle an additional 22 amps of draw more than the factory one. That's a whole lot more amperage than what the factory one can do, a lot more. And because of that, and the fact that you can actually opt this EKPS to have an additional fan, which this one does. This one has the 40mm uber quiet fan. I'll show you guys on the screen what it is they sent me. With this in place, you can kiss goodbye to that situation of the EKPS overheating and shutting down your car because it's too hot. This will take care of that. And best of all, on the F chassis, no coating is required. They do warn you that there may be some oddball F chassis that maybe they're early production or maybe during a certain range of VIN numbers they used a different part number and that one is acting up with it. But generally speaking, F chassis are not going to require coating. Recommended? Yes, not required though. So that's awesome. Something else to note though, this is not for dual pump setups. There are other companies that will handle that for you, but this one is meant for a single pump and it can handle all the way up to a Walbro 535 with no problem whatsoever. With all that in mind, let's take a look at it. And guys, I apologize ahead of time. I don't have much space on my workbench to show you stuff because it is full of parts. Most of this is for the Jetta, but I do have some BMW parts in here and I don't have much space to work with right now. So I made this little space just to be able to show you guys this here. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look. Ah, that's cool. I'm a little ricer. I like this kind of stuff. All right, so you guys see here that it does have the fan integrated to the casing already. And all the changes that they did is obviously besides the casing are inside in the guts there. I'm not going to open it up, but their website has some pretty good pictures. But this should be a plug and play installation. All right, now some of my earlier subscribers are going to remember the fact that I have an ARC Terminator EKPS cooler kit already installed on my car. So we're gonna go ahead and take that off, take off the factory EKPS, and we're gonna replace all of that with just a single unit. So that's actually going to eliminate wiring. It's going to open up a spot in my rear distribution box where I'm getting power for the fan for right now. It's all gonna be integrated through the factory harness, so it'll be a much cleaner install. So because I've already done a video on how to install that cooler kit, I've already shown you guys how to access the EKPS. So I'm just gonna put you guys on the time lapse while I do that. If you want a more detailed description on how to do it, I'm gonna have the link in the description below for you guys to take a look at that for reference. Okay, my factory EKPS has been removed, but I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually very curious to see what the differences are side by side between the factory one and this one from Arc Terminator. Now, I know they have pictures on their website, but I don't know, it just feels good for me to be able to see them side by side, you know? So let's take a look at that now. I gotta say, it's times like these that I wish I was more familiar with computer hardware than I am. I know very basic, but here we go. This is the factory EKPS. Notice that I still have the fins that came with the EKPS cooler kit from Arc Terminator. I installed these just about a year and a half ago, and everything here is fine. And reminder, I've never had a shutdown situation with this overheating, and that's probably credited to this cooling kit that came with it. Obviously, it's this plus the new casing with the fan on it. Again, reference the video down below in the description. But you see here, there is some discoloring of the board down here. The fan sits around here, and you see how this one, there's very little discoloration there. Most of it is going on here. But again, I never had this thing shut down on me. Credit to Arc Terminator for that cooler kit. It definitely worked. Now here's on to the new one. I've been looking at this back and forth, and I don't see much different here. I do see that like this one here is different. For example, like there's different stuff written on whatever this little piece is. I'm sorry guys, I sound like such a rookie, but I mean it's just not something that I'm familiar with. I know these are chipsets. I know these are, I suspect that these are capacitors of various ratings and whatnot, or resistors. But that's about it as far as my knowledge for circuitry. Maybe other people can chime in and educate me more on this. But obviously this is where it stops with the factory one. And look at this one. This one here has this bad boy here on this chipset. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably a thermal switch, because I know that on their website it does say that when a component on here reaches a certain temperature, I believe it was 50 degrees Celsius, it will kick on the fan. And I see that this thing is tied right into this chipset. So this goes here. This is a fuse. You got a little capacitor here, and I'm guessing what looks like a small relay. And here we go, the fan itself. So when this closes up in its position, it goes right there. So it goes right over this. So I'm guessing that's the one that gets hot on all our cars. So anyway, I just wanted to see the guts of it to just better understand what's going on. This is really cool. All right, well now it's time to reassemble this and put it on the car. All right guys, if you hear noise in the background, I'm sorry, my neighbor is mowing the grass right now. Hopefully you don't hear it, because if you notice, I do have a new microphone finally. It has a pretty good sock on it to hopefully not have any noise come through. Anyway, so here we are with a new EKPS. Let's go ahead and plug that in. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do have a whole lot more wiring than most people do, and that's because down here I have my ethanol content analyzer board that piggybacks to the harness going to the EKPS. That's one. And then I also have all of this here. That's for my variable mufflers. So don't worry, you guys are not missing equipment. It's just me that has a bunch more stuff that I added. All right, that is in. So let's go ahead and secure it. Now these are plastic nuts. They do not have to go all that tight. Just make sure that there's tension on them and leave it alone. All right, so that's in. Before I reassemble everything, I just want to turn on the car, make sure that everything idles fine and whatnot, and then I'll go ahead and put everything back together. We're good. All right, so that was just the first test. I wanted to make sure that it turned on and idled, and it did. So now the car is put back together. Let's go out on the road. Let's get the engine up to operating temperature and let's do a pull just to make sure. All right, so we're up to temperature. I got it in Sport Plus. We're just gonna do a multi-gear. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Not in my usual road, but let's give it a shot. All right, second gear, get it up to RPMs. Woo! All right, guys, that confirms it. This EKPS is working perfectly. I have no issues, no trouble codes, no nothing. So I hope you guys liked it. I'll go ahead and put the link down on the description for it. And man, like, I think that this is one of those products that even if you have not had your EKPS shut down on you, you should do it preventively. It's cheap. It's not that much money. Like, you know, like why not? You know, it's kind of like a crank guard or the aluminum Mickey Mouse fitting for the coolant hose in front of the cylinder head. You just do it because you know it's going to happen at some point. So I think that you should just go ahead and do it. I know that they do give you the option of sending in your original one and they'll go ahead and rework it for you, or you can just go ahead and buy one from them. Full assembled, so that way you have your factory one as a backup. That's what I ended up doing with this sponsorship. So I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, please give me a like, consider subscribing, go check them out and show them some love, because they got a lot of stuff for the BMW community and they just keep putting out more and more products. So it's definitely been fun working with them. I do recommend them again. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next week.